Gordon Gekko in the 1987 movie Wall Street says, "Emotion is the enemy of profit." Now, this movie brings to us an image of super rational villain who is quite cold about trading, which in itself is a high pressure environment. However, when I was recently watching this movie, it made me reflect on one thing. Was there some truth to what Gecko was saying? I reflected on my own experiences and also built on the philosophies of this very famous Indian philosopher called Osho. So the first aspect is that I have been meditating for a long time. On and off, it must be around 6 or 7 years now. However, for 3 years in the beginning, I was very consistent. I would meditate for around 20 to 30 minutes almost daily. A time came in my meditation journey when I was thoughtless. That's possible. However, what was stronger than these thoughts was emotions. So you're in a place and you're meditating, and when you start witnessing your thoughts, what happens? They sort of start to get decluttered, and eventually you reach a point where there are no thoughts. Now, this was the time of COVID. I was alone in a land far away from my home, and there were certain emotions in me which even I could not understand. I had no clue what was happening. These emotions are really powerful, especially the emotion of pain. It unsettles you. To understand what was happening, I tried looking into various aspects, various philosophies. At one point of time, I came across Osho, who talks about the three layers of a person. He says the first layer is of action, and action is how your whatever you do is expressed, or others can see this dimension of you. Now, action could be paused at any given point of time. It's very easy. If I'm reading a book, I can stop reading. If I'm writing, I can stop writing. If I'm speaking, I can. Now, second is that how do you interact with yourself? The second dimension is the dimension of thoughts. It's using the thoughts that you communicate to your own self. I'm walking in the street and I'm thinking about the finance problem I was solving in the morning. I am in the shopping mall and my favorite song is constantly playing in my head. I'm not aware of things around me most of the time. Most of the time, the reality that I witness is the mental reality, what's going on inside my head. Till thoughts, it's okay. Now, in my case, since I've been meditating for a long time, I think that I can switch to the mode when I'm witnessing thoughts. However, sometimes thoughts do derail me as well. Regardless, from my own experience, I can say that through meditation, you can reach a point where you can witness your own thoughts. Then comes the third layer, and this is the most dangerous layer. It's the layer of emotion. The problem with emotion is that it unsettles you, and a lot of contemporary advice that's out there is that you should feel your emotions. Now, this is a bit of a scary statement because feeling your emotion is one thing, but acting on it, that could be unnerving. Also, You can, if you start looking at it logically, if you reason with yourself, there is absolutely no reason to get frustrated, to get angry, to even get upset. If you could sort of stop in the moment and come from the level of emotions to level of thoughts. So there are these three layers of three dimensions of you. First is the work dimension, the thing that you do. Then the thoughts dimension, that how you express yourself to yourself. And the third, when the thoughts stop, there are emotions. Now, in Lord Krishna says in Gita that emotions are something that come and go. The way you experience cold and heat, the same way you experience happiness and sorrow. So, titikshu them. Titikshu is a Sanskrit word for which I did not find any English meaning. Titikshu means you let the thoughts come and go through you. So initially there is a ripple of thoughts, a ripple of emotions, and you let it settle. So you're not tolerating, but you are indifferent. You're just letting it be there. And that's true that we are not always sad and we are not always happy. There is happiness and then there is sorrow. Under such circumstances, through some practice and some necessity as well, if you really are in a high pressure environment, or if you have been in situations where you realize that your emotions were working against you, that's the time when you want to change and you start seeking ways in which you could be cold, rational, like Gordon Gekko. I kid you not, Gordon Gekko became the hero of a lot of Wall Street traders. He inspired a generation of people being interested in trading and broader finance for that matter. So definitely to some extent there is some charisma associated with his character, and we see that people who are not easily, who do not easily get emotional, who are more stoic, do appear more heroic. And the reason is very simple, is that when you're not emotional, when your words are not marred by turbulence inside you, when you speak from a place of calmness, when your every decision comes from a place of calmness, then you take wiser decisions. And even if you take not so wise decision, there's always a possibility to learn. But if you're always turbulent inside and you're constantly sleeping, you're always lost in your thoughts, then whatever comes out of your mouth, whatever actions you take, would not be wise at all. A good example is that psychology says that humans are averse to loss. What happens is, let's say you're trading and you lose money. What do? You hold on to that stock longer. You don't want to lose, right? And in that movie, at least, what Gekko says that you win some, you lose some, but you keep fighting. Now, can you detach yourself so much that winning or losing a few $1,000, or if you're a hedge fund manager, then a few $1,000,000 do not really matter to you? Sure, it could be done. And the reason why I'm saying that it could be done is that I listened to a lot of people who were in the at the top level. One good example is Jason Wong from NVIDIA. I was recently listening to his one of his videos, and in which he says that growth comes through pain and suffering. So when you have gone through something that's difficult, that's challenging, that's painful, and pain and suffering do not necessarily need to be bad. They are in fact a wonderful catalyst for change. I think if we are not uncomfortable, if we are not in pain, we are never going to grow. To some extent, I think blessed are those who suffer, because every suffering comes with an answer. with an opportunity to be better than who you are. And it's important, right? If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. So it's I think that grief, suffering, sometimes it comes as blessing in disguise. So when the world in which you're living, which is pretty much the world in which we live, demands you to be wise, needs you to step up and be a leader, needs you to bring something to the forefront that's helpful for everyone, that's profitable, that's wise, then you start learning how to not be affected by your emotions. You start becoming more rational. And for a lot of advices out there that human beings are not perfectly rational, they're emotional creatures, and you cannot be that cold, blah blah blah, it's all bullshit. There are times when you have to be cold and you have to be rational. In fact, think of it. If you're a CEO of a company and every time profits go down, you start crying, and every time profits go up, you start celebrating, then you're not going to have a successful career, and your company is not going to have a successful career, and it will be such a waste, not just to you, but to your entire team. So when there are people looking up to you, when you're responsible for people around you, when you're responsible for yourself, and to say the least, all of us are responsible for ourselves. In that case, I think it's a good advice to, not even advice, it's a good call to people to reflect on this. That is it really necessary to be emotional? Is it really necessary to get angry? Is it really necessary to get upset? Or can we just walk away from that situation and focus on things that matter? If I could leave you with one thought, it would be, don't listen to anyone. It's the advice on internet, the advice in books, the advice from people near you. I think it's very much the way they look at life or the things that they have heard. And a good strategy is to know for yourself what works the best for you. If being emotional works best for you, if crying your balls out, if getting upset is something that you feel that sort of lessens the pressure, by all means. However, if you are someone who is fundamentally rational at his core, and for you it makes sense to be calm and composed when things are either going up or going down, then that's equally good. To a great extent, I would say it's better if you could be stoic in the face of difficulty or even happiness. See you in the next video.